Hello and welcome to Money Control. You're watching a very special personal finance edition on the occasion of Women's Day. I'm Kaizad Adajania. At Money Control, we've always stressed upon the importance of women taking charge of their finances. But how should women plan financially for a career break? Remember, during this time, the earnings go down or, in many cases, even stop. Should you then rely on your spouse's income, or is there a way to still have your own money box, be in control of it, and have access to it at all times? I'm joined today by Mirin Agarwal, who is a financial planner based in Bangalore. Mirin specializes in coaching money matters to women and holds numerous workshops to train young men and women who have just entered corporate life about managing money. She also writes a monthly column on moneycontrol.com. And today she joins us again to tell our women listeners how to be financially independent. Hi, Bryn. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, Kezad. Always nice to be at Money Control.
Thank you. And always nice to have you with us, especially on Women's Day, Mrin. So, Mrin, let me just start by asking you a sort of a tricky question. Now, women, many women, either due to by own choice or due to family compulsions, take a break a few good years after joining the first job. Now, many get married, they have children, spend months and sometimes even years at home before they decide to rejoin the workforce. Now, my question to you, Mirin, is that is there a minimum time period that they should be looking at before deciding when they would like to go for a break, or is this too personal a choice? Because I'm saying this, from the point of view of having to accumulate a decent corpus to take care of themselves, during these break years. So, is there a minimum time period that they should be working before they decide to take a break, Mirin?
I don't think that there's any minimum time period or anything of that sort, but I think what is really important is to have a good amount of corpus accumulated because let's say you're taking a break due to childbirth. Then what happens is that while let's say the spouse would be taking care of expenses, but you would still have personal expenses of your own, for which typically you would not want to go and ask your spouse for this money. And also there would might be other needs, so for example, if you are financially supporting your parents, or there might be other desires that you might have, like for example wanting to travel or stuff like that. So what is really important is for you to ascertain what is the amount that you need for these personal needs on a regular basis, and then work backwards to see what is the sort of corpus you need. So just to give you an example, let's say that you have a corpus of 10 lakh rupees, right? Now let's say you're withdrawing 15,000 rupees from this corpus every month, and also this corpus is invested in a fixed deposit. It's not lying in the savings account, so it's earning some interest, but at the same time you're doing some regular withdrawal from this for your personal needs. The corpus is only going to last 6 years. So what are you going to do after that, right? Another thing that you need to keep in mind is that all this while you were working, you were contributing to family finances, right? So your money was being used for expenses, or maybe to pay EMIs, or maybe to invest. So what is going to be the impact of not having this money going towards these expenses or investments also needs to be thought about.
Okay, so Mrin, you've touched upon quite a few important points over there. Let us just take one of them at a time. Is there a minimum time period that you should be looking at to spend at your job before you decide to take a break? Because you've spoken about numbers, you've spoken about a lot of things, that a lot of plans that women might have to sustain herself as well as her family once she goes on a break. So there is money involved over there as well. There's going to be demand on her finances as well, right? So of course we'll get into how she should start to plan investing in financial instruments to be able to get to that corpus. But you need time. Money needs time to grow, right? So I mean, you can't just join the workforce today and expect to sort of go on a break after 2 years and then expect to have a decent size corpus with you to sustain yourself during your break year. So what is that minimum time period that women should look at spending time on their jobs before they decide to take a break, so that they have sufficient corpus with them? to sustain themselves?
Well, the right way, as I said, would be to kind of think about how much money you need during the break for your personal needs, and then work backwards and figure
Work
out
backwards.
what is the sort of corpus you have. But in my estimation, I think it's kind of, unless you have been financially prudent and you have been saving and investing, I would think that at least you should have worked for 10 to 15 years to have even developed a decent corpus.
Okay, okay. Any particular corpus? I know again this is it's a very personal question. It's dependent on woman to woman, but any ballpark figure or any ballpark minimal threshold in terms of the value of your investments or your portfolio that you should have in your kitty before you can even think about going on a break?
Again, I mean, it's really dependent on what your expenses are going to look like, right? So
Okay,
if your expenses are going to be high, like if your view is that, okay, now I've worked for 15 years, I want to take 6 months off and I want to travel, right? But when you're doing that, you also need to sustain yourself. So it's easy for me to give a number, but the number is not going to be is going to be immaterial if the expenses are going to be very high. So again, I will say that the only way to do this is to really look at working backwards, use a calculator which is going to basically tell you this. You can use a goal planning calculator, for example, which is going to tell you that what is the amount that you need to be having in order to be able to take this break.
and it's also important, Marin, that women should start investing, should start saving as soon as they work, as soon as they join the workforce, right? At the age of maybe 20 or 21. Because, only if you start saving diligently early on, can you, accumulate a good sized corpus by the time you're ready to go for a break, right?
Absolutely. And this is where a lot of women make a lot of mistakes because they tend to undermine their own incomes. And many women believe that their own incomes are just, some money for them to have fun for themselves or to be used for expenses in the family and all that. So I think, that's a big mistake. And certainly you need to start investing at least 40% of your take home income right away after you start working.
Okay, okay. So, just want to ask you a little bit more on that. When we know that you give a lot of, you take a lot of corporate workshops at a lot of corporates, and you speak to a lot of young men as well as women, and sensitize them to the need to financially plan their future. So, when you speak to them, what are the most biggest, the biggest mistakes that you see women committing when it comes to planning their financial future?
So, first is, of course, not saving, right?
Okay.
Because you believe that your income is secondary, it can be used for expenditure, stuff like that. The second thing is also, handing over this income to a man in the family, which could be partner, spouse, father, brother, thinking that they can do it better. So, this is what could happen. Like, they might look at putting your money in stock trading and they might make significant losses on this and you're not even aware of it, right?
Okay.
The other thing is that women are extremely conservative where their investments are concerned. So you'll find a lot of women would have put money in gold, and again, gold in jewelry form, right? Which is, we know, is the worst form because there's a 25-30% which goes as overhead charges. They're not buying gold in form of sovereign gold bond or the gold ETF, or they would have bought these investment linked insurance policies like endowment and ULIP. And as we all know, these policies give you very low returns between 4 and 5%. Plus, they're all pretty much locked in, right? So, these are typical mistakes that women make, due to which, despite earning an income, right, their money does not grow because maybe it's not invested correctly. Maybe it's being used up by that male relative, to put in a business which has not grown. That is also
Hmm.
very, very common, right? So what happens is that finally the money has not grown, or if the access to the money becomes very limited if it's been deployed in a business, for example.
So this is a very pertinent problem in women, right? I mean, they take charge of their own finances. I mean, we've seen this repeatedly, Mrin. You have also written so many times in your columns on money control on why it is so important for women to trust their own selves and to, be in control of their own money rather than entrusting their the male member of the family, the husbands, the fathers. I mean, how widespread this phenomena really is. I mean, do you see even in today's generation also the same thing happens, Bryn?
Absolutely. And I think there was recently a survey in 2019 by DSP, which showed, I think, that only 13% of women actually take their own decisions. And a majority of women who actually take their own decisions do so because they are in a specific situation. So, for example, either they're dealing with the death of a spouse, or they're divorced, or they're single, right? So, married women typically don't tend to
So they only
get it.
take charge of their finances, you're saying, when they have to, not when they want to, or not when they should.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So you're saying that, of course, every woman, whether you are young, middle-aged, or elderly, you should know at least where your money is invested. And you should take money decisions, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, okay. But then last question I wanted to ask you about women and career break and financial independence during your career break. Now, we know that, of course, many women take a career break, but how important is it for you to, how important is it for women to come back to the working force, and how soon would you recommend them to come back to the working force to ensure that there is an income stream, the continuous income stream to support themselves and to continue their financial independence?
So actually, I would not recommend women to take a break from work
Okay,
at all.
okay,
Because I truly believe that if you're economically independent and you're in charge of your life, the moment you become financially dependent on someone, you pretty much have to live your life based on that person's idiosyncrasies, so as to speak. And
right.
even any money decision that you take, so even a small expenditure needs to be explained to people. I mean, this is what I have seen. I have never been in this situation, but this is what I hear, and this is what I see among people who are, or let me rephrase that, among women who are financially dependent on others, right? Where every expense that they make needs to be justified, right? So first of all, I would say that please do not take a break. Secondly, even if you have to take a break for whatever reasons, still try to find a way to work part time so that you have some amount of income that is really coming in, for you to take care of your financial needs. And remember that there might be situations in life which you cannot foresee, for which you yourself need to have your own savings, right? So we have seen many cases of divorce happening, like let's say after 20-25 years of marriage, or the lookout on common goals itself being very different, right? So after 20 years of working, you might decide, or after 20 years of being in a relationship, you might decide that now I want to follow my dreams and I want to follow my aspirations. And if you have to do so, the only way you can do it is if you have some money of your own. So, which is why I don't really recommend women to take a break. Even if you are taking a break, try to work part time so that you have your income coming in. Of course, you need to look at investing that particular income. And as I said, it could be for a good purpose that you're using it. It could be for a needy purpose that, life has put you in a particular situation. And that is why, being in charge, being financially independent means being in charge of your life.
Mirin, you said something very important, which I again want to stress to our listeners. The access to money, the access to money is very important. I mean, that's where, as you said, many women actually suffer financially, because even if they are financially independent, when they entrust their spouses or fathers or male members of the family to manage the money, the access to money becomes difficult, because every expense then you have to justify, which is not how it should be, right? I mean, you should be able to get access to the money as and when you want, because it's your money.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thank you, Viren. Thank you so much for your valuable insights. I'm sure our women listeners would have benefited from your insights on how best to take control of their finances. Thank you so much to all our listeners. For more news, views, and updates, log on to moneycontrol.com. Happy Women's Day. But remember, Women's Day may be today, but you have to manage your money every single day of your life. Thank you so much for listening.